There's one question no one is asking about Ozempic, Wegovy, the new Foundayo pill that just got FDA approved. And it's the question that should come before you take any of them, right? Manjaro, any of them. Because here's what the conversation is missing. Within a year of stopping these medications, on average, 60% of the weight comes back. Up to 40% of what you lost was muscle. And the body that you regain is not the same body that you started with. Listen, an obesity medicine physician at one of the top medical centers in the country put it plainly last month. And he said, quote, "We don't have an off-ramp right now. This is meant to be an indefinite medication." I'm Dr. Z, and I'm a woman who has had to be cognizant about her body too. So I'm not coming at this from above the conversation. I'm in it. And if you've been thinking about a GLP-1, stay with me.
Welcome to the True Wellness Podcast with Dr. Z, where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. Z, and each week I will bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey right away. Now, let's get started.
Okay, before I tell you anything about Foundayo, before I give you any framework, before I say a single word about the research, I want to talk to you, not the audience, you. If you're listening to this, there's a good chance that you've tried everything. Maybe you're tired of trying, tired of doing everything right and watching your body really refuse to respond. Tired of your friend who lost 30 pounds on Wegovy and casually asked if you've tried it yet. Have you tried it? Right? Tired of the dinner conversations where everyone is comparing their dosages and their weight loss and you don't know whether to join in or stay quiet. Maybe you're tired of the doctor who told you, hey, everything looks fine when you know it doesn't. Maybe you're tired of, the back and forth in your own head, the part of you that wants to take the shot and be done with it, and the part of you that knows, right, that something about this whole thing just isn't sitting right. So you're not crazy. You're not lazy. And this episode it's not here to shame anyone who is on or has tried these drugs or who is just thinking about it. These are real decisions made by real women who are just trying to feel better in their own skin. And what I want to do for the next 35 minutes is give you the rest of the information. The part that marketing didn't include, the part about what your body is actually doing and what it's actually capable of when you stop overriding it and you actually start listening to it. So that's the conversation. Let's get into it. So last month, the FDA approved a new weight loss medication called Foundayo. We actually had a podcast about it. We did have a brief discussion on it. Go and look up that podcast. It's about a month ago. So it's by Eli Lilly. It's a once a day pill. You don't have to inject it. You don't have to take it on an empty stomach or wait 30 minutes before you drink water. You take it whenever, with whatever, like you would a vitamin, right? So that makes it very attractive. And I'll tell you that the conversation in my practice changed overnight. Women who had been watching the GLP wave from the sidelines for the last 2 years because the needle was a hard no for them. Suddenly they were not on the sidelines anymore. They were calling me, they were emailing me, they were asking the question that they hadn't been asking before. And that question is, should I take this? Is this the answer? Am I making a mistake if I don't? And that's the moment that I want to talk to you about today, because I'm not here to tell you that GLP-1 medications are evil. I'm not here to tell you that they're a miracle. I am here as a clinician based on my day-to-day experience with clients to give you something that I have not seen anyone else give you, right? Which is a framework, a real body-led clinical framework from how to think about this decision before you take it. Not after, before. And for those of you who are new, by the way, I'm Dr. Z, PhD, functional medicine clinician, nervous system specialist. I work with professional women who are women. They're like running companies, they're running teams, they're running classrooms, departments, practices, households. Often, above all, it is women who are dealing with bodies that have stopped responding to what used to work. Many of them are perimenopausal. Many of them are in midlife, and almost all of them at this point have at least thought about a GLP-1. If that's you, then this episode is for you. And be sure that you subscribe to our podcast so you can continue getting this awesome information. So I want to cover what the research actually shows, what these medications do and don't do in the body, and why midlife weight gain is almost never just about weight. And the 5 questions that I want every woman to sit with before she makes one of the most personal decisions of her life journey. So let's get into it, you guys. Let me set the scene, because the conversation has changed in the last 18 months dramatically, and a lot of people don't even realize how much it's changed. But before I do, one more thing I want you to know, okay? I am not a clinician for whom this conversation is just academic, right? I am not a woman who was born with the genetics to never have her think about her weight. I know what it feels like to be tired and frustrated and to look at the medication that promises to make it easier and feel like in that moment, like that's the most reasonable thing in the world, right? I have to be cognizant about my own body and my own choices the same way that you do. And I'm not standing outside this conversation, I'm in it. So when I ask you to slow down, slow down before you make this decision, I'm asking you from inside that same exact moment that you are in, right? GLP-1 receptor agonists, that's what Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjaro, Zepbound, and now the oral Wegovy and the Foundayo, they have produced some of the fastest sales growth in the pharmaceutical history. Nearly 1 in every 5 adults, okay? Nearly 1 in every 5 adults. That's a big statistic there. Nearly every one of them in 5 adults with obesity have actually used a GLP-1. Okay. 1 in 5. This is not a niche medication. This is now a mainstream part of how people in this country are managing their weight. And the conversation around it has gone through 3 different phases, right? The first phase was excitement, right? 2 years ago, these drugs, they looked like a miracle. Celebrities, they were losing 30, 40, 50 pounds. Doctors were prescribing them off label. The before and afters were everywhere. Okay. Phase 2 was the concern. The side effects started getting documented, right? The pancreatitis, the gallbladder issues, the gastroparesis, which is like stomach paralysis. It's a condition where your stomach essentially stops emptying. And, in some cases, it's been irreversible. So vision problems, the hair loss, the muscle loss. People started talking about Ozempic face, like that hollow drawn look that comes from rapid weight loss, right? In someone whose body wasn't really ready for it. And then the lawsuits started, and they are not small. I mean, there are class action lawsuits in multiple states, individual cases involving stomach paralysis, intestinal obstruction, severe gallbladder disease. In fact, there was a 2025 review in the European Journal of Medicinal Chemistry that described semaglutide associated adverse events, right? So the symptoms, the adverse events, the things we don't want to happen. It described them as multi-system, which means that it documented effects from the medications across the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, the neurological system, the reproductive system, the immune system, the respiratory system, the liver, the kidneys, the thyroid, the retina, okay? This is not a short list. And the boxed warning that comes with the new oral pill, the Foundayo, it includes risk of thyroid, C-cell tumors, including medullary thyroid carcinoma. That's like, cancer, you guys. And that warning is not on the package because of some sort of hypothetical concern. It's on the package because the animal data raised a flag. So that's phase 2. Phase 3, which is where we are right now, which is more honest. I think researchers are saying out loud what should have been said from the beginning, right? And I'll quote from an obesity medicine physician at MUSC last month. He said, "We don't have a good off ramp right now. So these medications are meant to be indefinite medications," right? That's a quote, end quote, right there, right? Because I want you to hear that. These medications were not designed to be a short-term fix. The clinicians prescribing them will now tell you in plain English that they are designed to be taken for the rest of your life. And this is the medical model, right? The expectation is lifelong use. And if you stop, the research shows that you regain about 60% of the weight you lost. That's on average, right? And that's on average within 1 year. And what you regain, by the way, is not the same composition as what you lost. The weight you lost was roughly 40% muscle and 60% fat. So the weight you gain back is almost entirely fat. So this is especially important for women in midlife because we already lose muscle naturally during perimenopause and menopause as estrogen drops. And a medication then that accelerates muscle loss in a body that's already losing muscle, right? And a woman who may or may not be doing any kind of strength training required to offset those losses. So no matter where you are, if you are in midlife, you need to be doing that strength training. But that sets up a problem that doesn't show up on the scale. The scale looks great. The body composition starts to tell a very different story. So when I say I'm not here to tell you these medications are evil, I mean that. They have a place. For some people, in some contexts, they are genuinely useful. But the conversation that you've been sold, which is lose weight, feel great, move on with your life, is not what the data is showing. And the data is showing something more complicated. And you deserve to make this decision with the complicated version, not the simplified one. Okay. So let me get a little clinical for a minute because I think this part is missing from most of what you've been seeing online, okay? First of all, GLP-1 is not a foreign chemical. It stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It is a hormone that your body already makes inside your gut in response to food. So when you eat, your gut releases GLP-1. And that hormone does several things, right? It tells your pancreas to release insulin, okay? It tells your liver to stop dumping glucose into the bloodstream. It slows down, how fast that food moves through your stomach, and it sends a signal to your brain like, hey, you're full, okay? You make this hormone every day. Your body knows exactly how to do this. So what the medications do is mimic that hormone, but in a much higher dose and for a much longer duration than your body would ever produce on its own. Okay. That's not subtle. That's not gentle. That's not what we call body led, right? They are flooding a receptor system that was designed for short bursts after a meal with a continuous high level signal that does not turn off. So here's what that produces clinically, okay? And you guys, this is all based on my research. If there's something else that you know or you've discovered, definitely leave it in the comments. I'm open to having conversations and understanding more. We are just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of understanding these things. So here's what it produces clinically, you guys. It produces a quieter appetite. So that's why people are eating less because their appetite's not signaling that they're hungry. It produces slower digestion, doing the same thing. It produces lower blood sugar. right? It produces a kind of food disinterest, like you're not thinking about food, you're not interested in food. And that's what many people describe as the most peaceful relationship that they've ever had with eating. Okay. And I really want to acknowledge that because that experience is real, especially if you're in that menopausal time in your life where the food noise starts to get loud as the hormones begin to change. Okay. If the hormones are out of balance or if you're stressed, and just about everybody is, right? But for women who have been at war with their body for like 30 years, have been at war with this food, that quiet I know is profound. Okay. But here's what it does not produce. It does not heal your underlying insulin resistance. It manages it. It's like a Band-Aid over it. It doesn't actually correct it. So the moment the medication is gone, and I have a client who's going through this right now. And so like the Ozempic rebound effect, I actually have a term for it. But the moment that the medication is gone, the insulin resistance, it's still there. You're not metabolically different. What you are is pharmaceutically buffered. Okay. It doesn't address why your appetite was dysregulated in the first place. And that the appetite signs that you were getting like at 9 p.m. telling you to eat the whole bag of whatever, like that wasn't random. That was a nervous system in survival mode. It was a blood sugar pattern that was crashing. It was a sleep debt because you hadn't been sleeping and your body is trying to cover for it, right? Your hormones that have shifted. But the medication silences those signals. It doesn't fix what the signal was telling you. It does not heal your gut. It does not regulate your nervous system. It does not balance your hormones. It does not address the stress load, the trauma, the sleep, the cortisol pattern, the thyroid, the gut microbiome, or any of the actual underlying conditions that contributed to your weight gain in the first place. It mutes them. Okay. And listen, I'm going to say this clearly because again, I haven't heard anyone say this. A quieter appetite is not the same as a healed system. A lower number on the scale is not the same thing as a healthy body. You can have both of these things, quieter appetite, lower number, and still be metabolically compromised. You can still be hormonally dysregulated. You can still have a nervous system that is like fried underneath. And this is why the muscle loss matters so much too, because muscle is not just about how your arms look. It's metabolic real estate. Muscle is where insulin sensitivity lives. So muscle is where your blood sugar becomes stable. Muscle is what protects your bones in the second half of your life. When you lose 40% of weight as muscle on a body that was already, heading into natural muscle loss of perimenopause, you're setting yourself up for a metabolic situation that the scale can't actually show you. So here's the thing that troubles me most clinically. We don't have a great long-term data on what happens to women specifically, right? Perimenopausal women, postmenopausal women over 5, 10, 20, 30 years, whatever, on these medications. We just don't have that research. The studies don't go that far yet. It hasn't been around long enough. And the people prescribing them indefinitely are essentially running the long-term study in real time on you with no exit strategy. This I see as a problem, right? That it doesn't mean don't take them, right? That means just know what it is that you're actually signing up for and know what that framework should be. Okay. So I want to take a step back because I think the framing of the entire weight loss conversation for women in midlife, it's broken, you guys. When a woman hits her late 40s and 50s and she begins to gain weight that she can't lose, she goes to her doctor. The conversation usually centers around one question: how do I get the weight off, right? Calories in, calories out, maybe a medication, maybe a referral. But the question is asking the wrong thing. The body of a woman in midlife is not the body of a woman in her 20s with a metabolism problem. It is the body in the middle of one of the largest hormonal reorganizations of her entire life. Okay. Estrogen is shifting, progesterone is shifting, cortisol patterns are shifting, thyroid is shifting, insulin sensitivity is shifting, your sleep is shifting, your muscle composition is shifting, bone density is shifting, the microbiome is shifting. So there's a lot of shifts taking place. And on top of that, this is usually the decade where all that cumulative stress of the last 20 years of careers and parenting and caregiving and just being a woman in a world that finally, it all finally catches up in the nervous system. So the weight gain is a downstream effect. It's one signal out of dozens that the underlying system is reorganizing. So when you treat weight as a problem, you are treating the symptom, right? You can absolutely make the symptom go away with strong enough medication anytime. But the system that produced the symptom itself is still there. It's still happening. And it will produce other symptoms: brain fog, sleep disruption, mood changes, loss, joint pain, hair thinning, loss of libido, skin changes, anxiety, depression, loss of strength. The weight was just one thing that you could see, right? One thing that made you feel maybe just uncomfortable out in the real world. And I mean, honestly, that's why a quieter appetite is not the same thing as a healed system. So the body wasn't asking you to eat less. The body was asking you to pay attention to what was changing. So the food signal was one of the ways it was trying to get your attention. It was like, hey, I'm hungry. I'm out of balance. I need help. And this is really why I want women to think carefully about a medication that silences the signal without addressing what produced it, because the body will keep producing the signals. The signals are just going to get louder or weirder or harder to interpret, right? It finds another way. So the weight may come off, but the fatigue, the brain fog, the mood, the sleep, the libido, those just don't get better because the scale moved. And in some cases, they actually get worse because now, I mean, the muscle is gone. So this is not anti-medication, you guys. This is pro-comprehension. I want you to comprehend, to understand what your body is actually doing before you make a decision about how to intervene in it, right? And listen, the GLP-1s, they're sexy. Seeing the results in other people, it's sexy. You're like, oh my gosh, I want that for me too. But I want to give you an idea of what I see in my practice, because the abstract version of this, by the way, is harder to feel than the specific version, right? The women who come into my practice in their late 40s and 50s who are dealing with weight that won't come off, they almost never have just one thing going on. They have a thyroid that's maybe borderline, but not flagged. They have cortisol patterns that are dysregulated, often, peaking at the wrong times of day. They have blood sugar that's swinging all over, even if their fasting glucose looks fine. Yes, your fasting glucose could look fine, but your blood sugar can still be having severe peaks and troughs, right? They have fragmented sleep, often without realizing how disrupted it is, because they've adapted to it. It's become their normal. They have inflammation markers that are elevated. They have a nervous system it's been in like survival, maybe low grade survival for years. And then on top of that, they have estrogen and progesterone shifting in ways that their body has never had to navigate before. And when you really look at the whole picture, the weight gain itself stops looking like a problem to solve. And it actually starts looking more like a message to read. This is what I teach as part of the body-led movement, right? Looking at the messages that your body is giving you. A medication that takes the message away doesn't make the underlying situation go away. It makes you stop hearing it. And that's what I mean when I say a medication can silence the signal, like without actually addressing what produced it. So your body can be sending you like a real, accurate biological message about what's happening underneath, that it needs support and it needs help. And you are allowed to make that message quieter with a pharmaceutical. But let's not confuse quieter with resolve, because they're two different things, right? Making something quieter doesn't mean resolving it. You can take a painkiller for your broken ankle, but if you're not allowing your ankle to heal, it's still broken, whether or not you can feel it or not as a result of the painkiller. Okay. So here's a framework, you guys. Here's 5 questions I want every woman to sit with before she makes any decisions about a GLP-1 medication. I want to get clear. You guys, I know I'm laying stuff out for you that is what I see and what I see happening, what I've done research on. But this is a personal decision, okay? And I'm not here to talk you out of it. I just want you to make sure that whatever you decide from a really clear place, not from exhaustion, not from convenience, not from a friend who lost 30 pounds and won't stop talking about it. Okay. So, question number 1, why am I considering this right now? Why am I considering this right now? Be honest. Is it because something just shifted in your life? A doctor's visit, a milestone birthday, you turned 50? I don't know. Is it a photo that you looked at that you didn't like? Is it your friend's transformation that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I want that"? Is it that there's a new pill on the market that doesn't require the needle? Or is it because you've done thorough clinical assessment of your body and concluded that this is the right intervention for what's actually happening? And listen, there's no wrong answer here, but the honest answer matters, because a decision that's made in a moment of reactivity, it's very different than a decision that's made from a moment of clarity. And these medications, they're not designed for reactive use. They're designed for indefinite use. Okay, so that's question number 1. Question number 2, what is my body actually asking for? So, number 2, what is my body actually asking for? So, underneath the weight, what are the signals? Is it fatigue? Is it sleep disruption? Is it brain fog? Is it mood swings? Is it hot flashes? Is it joint pain? Is it your hair thinning? Is it digestive issues, anxiety? Are you losing your libido? Make a list, write it down, look at it, because the weight is one signal, right? The list is the conversation. And a medication that addresses only the weight while leaving the rest of the list untouched is not the same as a medication that addresses what your body is actually asking for. So if your body is asking for hormone support, GLP-1 is not the answer. If your body is asking for blood sugar stabilization, GLP-1, well, it manages it pharmaceutically, but it doesn't repair it. If your body is asking for nervous system regulation, well, GLP-1 silences appetite, but it doesn't actually regulate your cortisol. So make sure the intervention matches the request. Okay. Question number 3, what have I not yet tried at the foundational level? So ask yourself, what have I not yet tried at the foundational level? And this is a question I want you to be more honest about, because in my experience, most women have not done what they think they've done. Have you stabilized your blood sugar? Not by counting calories, but by changing maybe the order and timing and composition of how you eat, right? Eating fiber and then eating protein before you eat carbohydrates, not eating carbohydrates alone. Stopping eating 2 or 3 hours before bed. These are not they're not exotic interventions, right? They're quite mechanical, and they do change the metabolic pattern in a way that most women have never tested. And you guys, I've worked with hundreds, thousands of women, and I see this all the time. Okay. Next, have you slept 7 to 9 hours consistently for 3 months to reset everything? Not 7 hours one night, 4 hours the next night, not 7 hours, but waking up at 3 a.m. every night with your cortisol spiking. Real consolidated sleep for 90 consecutive days. If you have not given your body the conditions it needs to regulate weight, because sleep is when it's so important to when that hormonal repair actually takes place and happens. Okay. Have you done real strength training 2 or 3 times a week for like 6 months? Not walking, not cardio, but resistance training with weights that actually challenge your muscles. Because if you are in perimenopause or postmenopause, you are losing muscle every year. And the only intervention that reliably preserves it is strength training. Not a medication, not a supplement. It's lifting heavy things. So lift heavy things. Okay. Have you regulated your nervous system through breath work, through time outdoors, through time away from screens, through actual rest? And nope, scrolling is not rest. Okay. Have you addressed the trauma, the stress loads? Have you addressed relationships, the work patterns that keep your body in a survival state for like the past decade? Because a body in survival mode does not release weight. It holds onto it as a protection mechanism. And that's just biology, you guys. Okay. Have you had your thyroid, a full thyroid panel run, not just TSH, your sex hormones, your cortisol pattern, your fasting insulin, your A1C, your inflammatory markers, actually tested and interpreted by someone who knows what they're looking at? Because most conventional doctors, they'll tell you that your labs look normal when they are not optimal. And there is a wide gap between not flagged for disease and actually functioning well, right? Not flagged for disease is over here. Actually functioning well is over here. We want to know if you're moving in this direction here. Okay. Most midlife women are living in that gap right there. And that's the problem. So if the answer to most of these questions is no, then you have not yet tried what could actually move the needle. The medication may still be the right call for you. It might be, but it shouldn't be the first call. And here's the part I really want you to hear. When women do this foundational work, they often discover that they didn't need the medication. Okay? Not because the work is magic, but because the body responds to when you actually meet the conditions of why these are happening, your body responds to that. Okay. Now, question number 4. What do I want my life to look like in 5 years on this medication or off of it? Picture it. You're on Foundayo or Ozempic or Mounjaro. You've been on it for 5 years. You take it every day. You maintain your lower weight. Your appetite is quiet. How does your life feel? Now, picture stopping. The data shows that within 1 year of stopping, you'll regain 60% of the weight on average, mostly as fat on a body that has less muscle than it did before. How does that feel? If both versions feel okay, that's a signal. If one feels like a relief and one feels like a trap, that's also a signal. That 5-year question, it's not designed to scare you. It's designed to make the decision real. Because most women are making a decision based on how they want to feel tomorrow. The clinicians prescribing it are planning for the next 30 years. Okay. Now, question number 5. Who is helping me make this decision and what are their incentives? And I mean, I say this without cynicism, you guys. The pharmaceutical companies that make these medications profit from your learned time use. The clinics that prescribe them often profit from your continued visits. The influencers. I mean, I have a practice. Yes, I profit from clients coming in, visiting with us regularly, right? The influencers promoting them often have affiliate relationships. So they're making money off it. The friends and family in your life, they have their own histories with their own bodies that are shaping what they're telling you. It doesn't make any of them wrong. It makes their input situated, okay? You should know where the input is coming from when you weigh it, okay? The person who should be most involved in your decision is someone who is looking at your specific body, your specific labs, your specific history, your specific life, and who does not profit from the answer being yes or no, whether you do it or you don't do it. And that's hard to find. But the closer you can get to that, the better the decision. So those are the 5 questions that I want to leave you with. Question 1, why now? Question number 2, what is my body actually asking for? Question number 3, what have I not yet tried foundationally? Question 4, what does this look like in 5 years? Question 5, who's helping me decide and what are their incentives? If you sit with these, you will decide to take a GLP-1. That is a decision I respect. It's an informed decision. It's a body-led decision. The framework is not designed to make you decide one way or the other. It's designed to make sure that whatever you decide it clearly. Okay. And guys, if you want to go deeper on this, I put together a document. It's called the GLP-1 Conversation. It walks through what the current research is actually showing, what's coming up in the lawsuits, what these medications do in the body, and what your body is already doing on its own, including the well-established ways your body produces and responds to GLP-1 without a weekly pill. Yes, the document gives you foods and activities that you can do to produce the GLP-1 within your body yourself without a weekly pill or injection, right? I made it because I couldn't find a single resource that actually gave people the clinical picture without an agenda, right? So this is not a fear campaign, you guys. This is just a conversation written down in clinical language in a one place. So you can download it for free if you go to go.southbaywellness.com/GLP. That's go.southbaywellness.com/GLP. And I'll put this in the show notes. There'll be a link there too. But if you go there, I'll pin this, on YouTube in a comment section as well. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can also comment the word GLP on this episode's post and we'll DM you the link directly, or you can DM us and we'll send you it as well. We'll send you the link. But it's go.southbaywellness.com/GLP. And it's got a lot of information in there and things that you can do to enhance and support your own natural GLP. Because like I said, GLP, it's you already produce it. So if you've got something from this episode, the most useful thing that you can do so that I keep showing up here is the same as always. Please follow, subscribe, share this with one woman in your life who's wrestling with this decision. The algorithm is feeding people the version of this conversation that comes with a pill to buy at the end. The version I just gave you doesn't perform on social media unless you tell it to. So that means you. And I want to bring this home, you guys. The reason I made this episode is because I see it with my clients all the time. I have watched too many smart women make this decision in the wrong state, right? Late at night, after a long day, after a doctor's appointment that didn't go well, after a photo that didn't sit right, after a friend's transformation post. They made a decision in a state of depletion and they made it fast. Now, I'm not telling you what to decide. I'm telling you when to decide. Make this decision in the morning. Make it after sleep. Make it after you've had a meal and water and you're not running on fumes. Make it with information, not reactivity. Your body is not malfunctioning. Your body is responding to a decade of accumulated changes and asking for your attention. The question is not whether to silence that signal. The question is, what is the signal asking for? And whether you've given yourself the time and the support to actually hear it. These medications are tools. Tools have a place. But the most important tool is your own attention. And no medication can give you that back if you trade it away. So that's it for today, you guys. Download the briefing. Okay, go.southbaywellness.com/GLP if you want to go deeper. And of course, follow, subscribe, share if this hit. And I'll see you next time.
This is Dr. Z reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace your journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness Checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.